Hello friends and welcome back to Digitalk. So in this session I am going to explain you the implementation of Docker image and container in very simple way. Okay, so what is image and what is container, how to create an image, then how to execute the container which is based on a particular image. So I will show you with a small example. Okay, I will create an Apache web server image, and based on that image I will start the container. Okay, and along with that I am going to execute few of the Docker commands, important commands, okay, that we mostly use. So if you are confused on Docker, or maybe you do not have a proper experience, you are a beginner, or you may be confused at some places with respect to images, containers, how to start, how to create, then a lot of concepts are going to clear in this particular session. Okay, I will try my best to explain. Before I quickly explain you of the images and containers about the Docker. Okay, and then I will execute the lab. Okay, so what is a Docker? Docker is a containerized system. Okay, so containerized system means the application, softwares, your code, everything is packed in a particular package. Okay, it is a kind of a package which contain all the application, software, and its dependencies. Okay, which we can copy from one system to other system. Okay, you don't need to install manually everything again and again when you are building the multiple systems. Okay, there are multiple benefits of Docker. Okay, so I have posted multiple videos on that. So this particular session is specifically dedicated on the lab exercise to explain you the how to create image and how to start the container based on image. So I will just give you a small overview. Okay, so what we do basically in the Docker. So first we install the Docker. Okay, so you need to install the Docker software. So once the Docker software is installed, okay, so what we do first, we create the images, different images. Okay, so here I am going to create the Apache web server image. Apache web server image. Okay, so this image contain your software, your application code, plus all the dependencies, right? Dependencies mean there are a lot of different libraries are there, right, in the operating system, which is required for your software. Like if you are going to install the Apache web server, so there are a lot of OS level libraries are there that you need to be installed as well, right? So this image will contain your Apache software, any of the website that you have deployed in the Apache web server, along with all the dependencies in this image. Okay, and once the image is there, so based on image we run the container, or you can say we start the containers. And when we start the containers, okay, then you can access the web server. You can access the web server. So this image make it portable, right? So you can copy this image, okay, from one system to another system. So if you copy this image from one system to another system, you don't need to install the software again and again. You don't need to configure your website. You don't need to install the dependencies, because everything is packed inside this particular image. You just need to copy this image on any system, and based on this image we can quickly spin up or start the containers, right? So by this way, within a couple of a minute of a time, your software, applications, website, containers, everything will be ready, which make it portable, right? So what we will do in this particular lab exercise is, so we will create an image. So I will show you how to create an image. Okay, and once the image is created, how to start the container, and what are the different input and parameters that is required when we run the container, and then some important Docker command that we can run. Okay, so let me go back to my lab exercise. Okay, and then so let me first exit from here. Okay, right. So now I will show you the execution, and before that I will explain you the plan. So very first thing, I will create a project folder, because I will create my all the code files inside this particular project folder. Okay, and then I will create one sample index.html file. Okay, you can consider it as a website. You have a website, okay, in your local system that you want to deploy in your Apache web server once it is up and running. Okay, so this website will be on your local system, right? Like this index.html will be in the local system. So when we are going to create the image, and from based on image we will create the container. So this particular code of my website will be copied inside the image from the local system. Okay, so to create the image, okay, we have to create a Docker file. The default name of the file is Docker file, D in caps, Docker file. Okay, so this Docker file we use to create the image. Okay, and there are a lot of different syntax that we define in the Docker file. So I'm just explaining you two small commands, okay, basic command that is required to create an image. The very first thing is from. Okay, so because as I said, image is contain all the software applications and along with the dependencies. So when we say dependencies, so this image contain a lightweight operating system, which is the Unix based. Okay, and which is a lightweight. Okay, it doesn't have the complete OS. It is a lightweight operating system which will contain only the important utilities or functionalities that is required for your application to run. Okay, so here you can see I have given the from. So from command we give in the Docker file. Okay, to tell the Docker which image it has to use. So here we have given the image HTTPD. That means we are going to use the Apache HTTPD image, and the version that we are going to use 2.4. Okay, so this is the image name, and this is the corresponding version, which is also referred as tag. Right. So now when I will create this Docker file with this syntax from, and in the from I will mention the HTTPD and 2.4. So from where it is going to pull the image, because as I said, this image contain a lightweight operating system, right? And this image will have the lightweight operating system along with the Apache image, which where the Apache is already installed, right? And the version is 2.4. So that means if you give like this one from HTTPD colon 2.4, so by default, sorry, it is going to look for the Docker Hub, and Docker Hub is this one, hub.docker.com. This is the Docker public registry, okay, where all the images are there. You can create your own private registries as well, okay, but there are a lot of images that are publicly available which you can utilize. Okay, so here I have given the public image name as HTTPD. So this HTTPD and the corresponding 2.4 version is going to download from the Docker Hub from here. So if I search here HTTPD, okay, so let me show you. Okay, so now you can see this is the HTTPD Docker official image. If I click on this image here, okay, so you can see there are different kind of images are here. Okay, for this particular repository. So from here, from this particular location, from this HTTPD location, which is available in the public repository, okay, it is going to download this particular image which I have mentioned here in the from tag. Okay, so it will, so that means when I give from httpd dot colon 2.4, so it will come to this location hub.docker.com. Here it will look for the httpd image, which is this one. Inside that it will look for the corresponding tag. So you can say I have used the corresponding tag 2.4. So that means it is going to download this 2.4 particular version. Okay, whatever the 2.4 version is there, it is going to download this particular image file from here. So this is the purpose of from. So if you are using your own private registries, okay, because this is going to download from the Docker Hub public repository. So in your organization, you may have your private registries. You are not going to download it from the public repository. So here we can specify the complete path of our private registry from where this particular image is going to download. Okay, once the image is there, once the image is created, okay, we need to deploy our website. So in website, I have only index.html page here, right? So for that, we use the copy command. So copy command is used to copy the content from your local system to the container, or you can say inside the Docker image, or maybe in a reverse way from Docker image to the local system. So here this is the website index.html, which is my local system. So with the help of copy command, I will copy this index file in this particular location inside my Docker image. Okay. Okay. So once my this Docker file is ready, okay, I will create the Docker image. Okay. So every container is based on a particular image. So to create the image with the command docker build -t and the tag what you have given. Okay. Or you want to give, you can give here. So every image has a corresponding tag. Okay, so once I will run the docker images command, okay, then I will show you what is the meaning of this one. And then dot. See, dot means that you are going to create the image based on the content that we have here. Okay, inside the current directory. Or you can say, because when we run the build command, okay, it look for the docker file. So if you specify like this syntax, okay, so it will look for the docker file inside the current directory. Okay, if you want to change the name of docker file, you don't want to go with the default name, so we have the option, we can with the -f option we can change the name of file. But if you want to go with the default name, so you can create a file with the name of docker file, and whenever you are going to build this image, it will automatically look for this docker file inside the current directory. Okay, and then this command will build the image, and with the help of docker images command we can check or list all the images that we have in our system. So once the image is ready, so based on this image we run the container. which is a runtime instance of your particular software for which we have built your image. So this image is we are building for the Apache, right? So if you remember in the from, we have given the HTTPD. That means we have pulled the Apache web server HTTPD image. So we have to run this docker run command to run the container. The syntax is docker run. -d means the detach mode. Okay, so once you will run the command, it will come out to the prompt. Once the container is up and running, it will come out to the prompt. Okay, so -d will run in the detach mode, and then you can give a name to your container. If you do not specify a name, there will be automatically name will be chosen by the Docker for you. Okay, so you can give your custom name for the container with the help of -name, then -p and then port mapping. Okay, because this Apache is going to run inside the container. Right, now you want to expose the services which is running inside the container from the outside world. Okay, for example, I will access my website or this index page from my local system, local laptop, right? So I need to expose the port, local port, okay, which I will use to access the services which is running inside the container. So the default port of Apache is 80. So that means once this container will be up and running, my Apache will be running on port 80 but inside the container. To access this particular Apache web server from my local system, I need to map a local port with the actual port in which service is running. So this will map the port 8080 from my local system, from my local laptop, okay, to this port 80 which is running inside the container. Okay, and this is the tag, because we are going to run the container, and this container, each container is based on certain image, right? So we have to specify the image name here along with the tag, and this is exactly same what we have given here when we created the image. Okay, so this will tell the Docker that okay, you have to run this particular container, and this container will be based on this particular image. Okay, so this is the explanation. -d detach mode, -name container name. This is a port mapping from local to inside container. Host port is your local port and container port is 80. Okay, then we can run the docker ps command. Okay, with the help of docker ps command, we can list all the running containers. Okay, and once the container is running, we will access the index page, okay, on the port 8080. Why 8080? Because this 8080 is my local port which is mapped with the port 80 on which your Apache is running inside the container. Okay, and then we can run the few commands like you want to check the logs of container, you want to stop the container, you want to start the container, you want to delete the container, or anytime you want to remove the image. So we have a command for that, docker logs and then container id. Okay, we can use to check the logs of container. Docker stop command, and with the name of container id we can stop the docker. With the start we can start the container. With rm we can remove the container, and before removing we have to stop the container. And with the help of rmi, delete rmi, sorry, not delete, it's docker rmi, docker rmi, and then image id, we can delete the images. Okay, so let me show you with the execution. Okay, so you will get the complete understanding. So let me rephrase, okay, everything in short explanation. First we will create a project directory. We will develop our website which we want to copy inside our particular image, or you can say container. We'll create the docker file. Based on that, our image will get created. Once the image is created, we will run the docker with the help of docker run command. Okay, and then we will test the services by accessing our website, and then I will run the few command of the dockers. Okay, so very first thing, I have to create a project. So let me take this name only. I will go inside a particular folder, like I have a docker demo folder. So here I will create the folder with the name of Apache Lab. Okay, so now I will go inside my Apache Lab folder. So here I am going to create the index.html file. Okay, you can consider this as a website. You may have a full website instead of that as well. Okay, so let me give name here. Okay, and then I will copy paste all the content of the index.html file here. So this is the content. Let me close this file, and I will remove this .txt extension. Okay, because this has to be .html. So now consider this website. Our website is ready. Code website is ready, which we want to deploy in the Apache inside our container. Right. So now I will create a Docker file. So I will create with the same default name Docker file in the same directory here. Okay, so I will remove the .txt extension later, and then I will copy two commands here. The one is from, like which particular image it has to use to build the Docker image. Okay, we are going to build the HTTP image. Okay, and then we will copy our local website into inside the particular image, which will be used inside the container at the runtime. Okay, so here I have explained you two basic commands, from and copy. Okay, similarly here we have a multiple command in the Docker file which you have to learn and implement according to your requirements. Okay, so let me save it and close. Then I will just remove this. The Docker file is ready, and based on that I have to create my image. Right. So this is the command that I am going to run to create my image. So here I will go to the command prompt. So Docker is already installed in my system. Okay. So now you can see docker build -t my Apache. This is the tag that I have given. And now you can see it is downloading and building the image. Okay. So it's downloading the image from the Docker hub. Okay. And now you can see the build is completed. Right. And you can see it has been with the from tag. It has been downloaded from the Docker registry. And the Docker registry is docker.io. Okay. And if I show with Docker images now, Docker images. Okay, so now you can see this is the image that has been created. So if you see here, we have given this is the name, this is the tag for an image. So now if you see here repository, so this is the name of whatever we have given here, and then the corresponding tag, and this is the tag v1. So this is how it works: repository, Apache tag v1. So now our image is created. Right. So now image is created. Now the second thing is we have to just start the container which is based on the image that we have created. Okay. So now go to prompt here. So before that, let me run the docker ps command to show you there is no running container as of now. So if I run the docker ps command, which show you the running containers. Okay. So as of now, there is no running containers. So let me run this command. Okay. So now you can see it is executed successfully and we are at the prompt. We are at the prompt because we have given the detach mode. If you will not specify -d, you will not come out at the prompt. It will hang here. Okay. And if you will close this particular window, then your container will also stop. So we have to use the detach mode. Okay. So now I will run the docker ps command again. So now you can see there is a container ID which is now running. This is the container name, Apache-container, which we have given in the command. Okay. The ID has been generated randomly automatically. Okay. And then this is the image. This particular container is based on this image, right? We have created this image. Right. So this particular container is based on this image. This is the name of my container. Okay. And then in the ports, you can say we have the port forwarding is configured. 8080 is on local system and it is listening on the port 80 inside the container where my Apache web server is running. Right. So that means our container is now up and running. So we can test the services. So you can go to the browser. Okay. And to test the service, you can give the local host. And then local port is 8080, which is mapped to the port 80. Now you can see welcome to Apache Docker container. Apache is running successfully. So this is the same code we have copied inside the index.html. Welcome to Apache Docker container and Apache is running successfully. That means we have successfully created one Docker image for the HTTP Apache server, and then we have started the container. And during the creation of image, we have copied our complete website inside the container, inside the image, and based on that our container is up and running and we can able to access our website. Right. So now you can consider how quickly it is. If you want to deploy or spin up your new website, okay, so you just need to take the code of your website. You just take the build the image. It will take hardly couple of seconds or a minute of a time. Okay, and based on that you can spin up your container and you can access your application. It's very fast. Within a couple of minutes you can start up or build your complete website, which will be up and running. Okay, so now we have few commands like the docker logs command. If you want to check the logs of your container, so docker, and then you can give the logs and you can specify the container ID, or you can give the name as well, whatever the name is there. Okay, because both are the unique identifier. Okay, so this is the logs of your container. Okay, now suppose you want to stop this particular container, so you can just give the docker stop and then you can give the container ID or either you can give the name. Okay, so this will stop your container. And let me verify it, docker ps. You can see there is no container. Now to start it again, you want to start your container, you can give the docker start and then it will start your container. And again, you can access your website. Okay, so now cleanup, you want to delete this particular container and you want to completely delete the image. Okay, that means you are going to clean your environment. So what you need to do first, you need to stop the container. Okay, when the container is stopped, so you can give docker and then rm command. And with the rm command, you can give the container ID. This will completely remove the container. Okay, and now you want to delete the image. So first you check the image ID. You can check the docker images command. So with the docker images command, you can check this is the image ID. And then you can run the docker RMI, and then your image ID. Okay. So it is saying error response from daemon. No. Okay. So it is not copy pasted properly. Let me give it again. Okay, now you can see untagged and the image has been deleted. So if you can verify with images, now you can see earlier there was a my Apache image which is not there now. So to delete the container, we have the docker rm command and the ID of the container. For deleting the image, we have the RMI for the image and then image ID. Right. So now hope it is clear to you at least a very basic flow, okay, where a lot of engineers get confused how it works and how this Docker file works, how the container commands are work, okay, and then what is port forwarding. So I tried my best to explain all the basic concept in simple way so that you have a good understanding of the Docker, how to build the image and how to run the containers.